That morning had begun like any other, but I woke up with a heaviness pressing down on my chest. I had been carrying the weight of too many things at once, and I felt like the smallest inconvenience might break me. My name is Emily, I'm 35 years old, and until that particular week, I thought I could handle anything life threw my way. But sometimes, strength isn't about handling everything alone. It's about knowing when to let someone help you. The house I live in is small but cozy, sitting on a quiet suburban street lined with oak trees and neatly trimmed lawns. I had lived there for 5 years with my daughter, Lily. Life had taken a sharp turn when my marriage ended, and since then, I had been balancing motherhood, work, and the daily responsibilities of keeping up the home. I wasn't wealthy, but I managed. At least, I thought I did, until everything started to pile up at once. The night before, the kitchen cabinet had collapsed, spilling pans and dishes across the floor. On top of that, my washing machine had started leaking, and Lily had been sick with a fever. I stayed up all night cleaning, worrying, and trying to be strong for her. By morning, I was running on fumes, my body aching, and my spirit worn thin. I had just come back from the store with too many grocery bags in my arms. The sky looked heavy with rain, and the sticky heat made everything harder. As I struggled to get my keys, I dropped one of the bags, spilling apples across the porch. I wanted to scream. Instead, I bent down, trying to gather them with shaky hands. That was when I heard a voice. "Need a hand with that?" I looked up to see Michael, my neighbor's husband. He lived 2 doors down with his wife, Sarah, and their 2 kids. He was always polite when we passed by, always willing to lend a smile or wave hello. Today, though, his smile was touched with concern. "I've got it," I said quickly, embarrassed. But my arms were trembling under the weight of the bags, and before I could protest, he stepped forward and lifted 2 of them with ease. "Doesn't look like it," he said gently. "Let me help." I felt a flush of gratitude, mixed with reluctance. Accepting help always made me feel vulnerable, like I was admitting defeat. Still, I let him carry the heavier bags inside. My living room was a mess. Boxes from a late-night attempt to reorganize were scattered across the floor, a broken cabinet leaned against the wall, and a pile of unfolded laundry sat on the couch. I felt exposed. "Looks like you've had a rough week," Michael said, setting the bags on the kitchen counter. I gave a short laugh, trying to brush it off. "That obvious?" "Yeah," he said softly, "but it happens to all of us." Something about his tone disarmed me. He didn't sound judgmental. He sounded understanding. That was harder to fight against. As I unpacked groceries, he noticed the cabinet. "Wanting to take a look at that? I'm pretty handy with repairs." At first, I hesitated. Then I thought about how many more days it would sit there broken if I tried to fix it myself. "If you don't mind." He went back to his house and returned with a toolbox. For the next hour, he worked steadily while I tidied up, trying to hide the fact that my hands still trembled from exhaustion. Watching him work made me realize how long it had been since I had someone else in the house willing to carry a bit of the burden. As he hammered and adjusted, I made tea. Sitting across from him at the table, I found myself talking about Lily, about my job, about how overwhelming life had felt lately. I hadn't planned to, but the words just spilled out. He listened quietly, nodding now and then, not interrupting, not judging, just listening. Outside, rain began to fall, tapping hard against the windows. The storm rolled in fast, and thunder shook the walls. I felt my chest tighten. I had always hated storms, ever since childhood. Something about the sound of thunder always left me unsettled. I gripped my cup tightly, hoping he wouldn't notice. "You okay?" he asked gently. I nodded quickly, though my hands betrayed me. The tea rippled from how badly they shook. My breath caught in my throat. I wasn't okay, but admitting it felt impossible. That was when a photo frame slipped from the shelf I had been dusting. It crashed to the floor, glass shattering. I gasped, sinking to my knees to pick it up, but my hands wouldn't stop trembling. The picture was of Lily, smiling on her first day of kindergarten. Michael crouched down, careful not to touch the broken glass. "Hey," he said softly, his voice steady in the middle of my storm. "It's okay. It's just a frame. You're carrying too much, that's all." I didn't want to cry in front of him, but my eyes burned anyway. He didn't tell me to stop or to be strong. He just let me have that moment, standing close enough that I didn't feel alone but far enough to respect my space. For the first time in weeks, I exhaled fully. The storm outside raged on, but inside, something shifted. I realized I didn't have to carry everything alone. Kindness didn't always come in grand gestures. Sometimes, it was just someone offering to hold the groceries when your hands were full, or fixing a cabinet when you didn't have the strength to try. By the time the storm passed, my house felt a little lighter. My heart did too. When Michael gathered his tools, I thanked him, my voice steadier now. "Anytime," he said. "Don't hesitate to ask." That night, after Lily was asleep, I sat on the porch, breathing in the fresh scent of rain. My hands were no longer shaking. I thought about how life has a way of surprising us, not with miracles that fix everything, but with small mercies that remind us we're not as alone as we think. I would carry that lesson with me, always.